feels like my little baby, that song. I'm quite a shy person, and especially with the first albums, I was very shy. First albums, most of the drum sounds are just me kind of flicking like...
Oh, wow. Which was just beautiful. Welcome back to the show. This is Lee from Radio 1, and today I have a very, very special guest with me. He's a frontman of the innovative and beloved band GlassAnimals. Dave Bayley is right here. Their hit single, Heat Waves, reached number 1 on the US Billboard 100 and has amassed over 2 billion streams online. Before I get into anything else, Dave, 2 billion streams, how do you feel about that?
Thank you for having me on the show first. But it feels... it's so hard to believe. Right. It feels like my little baby, that song. I wrote it in a bedroom, and it feels very like personal, but it's beautiful to see it go out and do its own. It's like, but the baby has gone off to... It's
adult. It's 2 billion years old now. Yeah, it's 2 billion. It's massive.
It went to college. Yeah.
Now back to this, your 4th studio album, I Love You So Effing Much. And this, album goes into themes of love and human connection. But I want to know more about from you, So this 10-track album, usually your albums have some concept behind it, there's a story behind it. So what was the concept behind this particular album?
I wanted to explore human relationships in all of their forms, good and bad and sad and negative, but mainly, I guess the point is that even though sometimes it's difficult and chaotic, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's a well-rounded experience, and that love between everybody is probably the most important thing in the world, in the universe.
It's so complex, right? I mean, human emotions and human relationships, it just changes from different, aspects as well, right? And was there a particular reason why you want to go through this, or like, how did you come up with this whole idea?
Yeah, I re-released the last album in the pandemic.
Correct.
And it was a really strange time to release an album. It was doing its thing, but we weren't able to see other people or see the reaction to the album. It was very isolated, and I ended up feeling really detached from reality. Nothing felt real for a long time. And I think this album was me trying to work out what's important and how to feel real again. And so I'm talking about the real things. And the whole album is soundscaped by space.
Wow.
The vacuum of space is the soundscape. It sounds very big and vast, and it's meant to be a juxtaposition, like the opposite of the really intimate personal stories at the forefront.
Wow, it is. I heard the album, I binged it, and I loved it. It was just, really, really encapsulating. And you mentioned like space, you just really get sucked into it, which was just beautiful. It was amazing.
That's exactly what I hoped to hear that. But yeah, I hope the kind of little, even though they're very intimate stories, you're right, they are more complex than the universe is. Hopefully they swallow the size of the universe whole.
Honestly, I always believe that we are the universe experiencing itself. So if we experience it, the universe experiencing itself, So I think that's also a cool way to look at things.
That's that's what I should have said.
No, usually, if I'm not wrong, your songs, you write the music before and then you add lyrics over it. Like at least for a song like Gooey, you did this, where you had the music written first and then you add the lyrics into it. What is the, behind this album? Did you do the same? How was the process? Was it the same way, or how to go?
I actually did it the opposite this time.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I was always very shy, and I'm still quite shy and introverted, and so
I don't see that at all. What are you saying? You're like super chill.
I'm trying. That's because you're easy to speak to, and I'm enjoying it. But I'm shy. I'm quite a shy person, and especially with the first albums, I was very shy. So for me, the voice was almost used as an instrument rather than anything about. I wasn't really trying to say words that I wanted people to hear. They were all mumbled and disguised, and the vocal line was just like a melody, like an instrument melody.
Right.
And as the years have gone on, and especially with the reaction to Heat Waves, that's very lyrically focused, it gave me I got a bit more confidence with writing lyrics. And so with this album, I went for lyrics and chords. I just did it all with a guitar and lyrics, and then I added all the sounds afterwards.
I saw you also added your hi-hats through the guitar as well. You did a lot of things with the guitar. You added, what else did you add through that?
Yeah, I basically bought a lot of old pieces of equipment from the 60s and 70s and used that to make this album. It's leaning into that retro futuristic sound. A lot of instruments from the past that were meant to sound like the future.
Nice.
That was the idea, and one of those is this weird drum machine that you plug your guitar into and you play. You play the drums with your guitar. It's good because I'm a bad drummer.
Yeah, so am I. I play the guitar too, and I just wish I could have your machine as well, so I can play the drums now through this and make some music myself. Hopefully, it comes out one day. Let's see.
You don't need too much. To be honest, the first albums, most of the drum sounds are just me kind of flicking
oh wow,
doing things like that and just clapping and snapping. You don't need to have drums and loads of microphones to make an album these days.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You did mention, the sound is very futuristic and like you said, from the past but in the future, right? And I also saw that you bought multiple different synthesizers in your bedroom for this. So how did you go about that? Like, what did you choose for which one for this song?
There are a lot of old film soundtracks that I love.
Such as, can you give me some names?
I can think there's the original Blade Runner, but then you can go back even further and start looking at Doctor Who soundtracks, and there was this British company called the Radiophonic Workshop that did all these crazy sound. They had some of the first synthesizers, and they actually thought that everyone who worked there was going to go mad because the synthesizers were oh my god, yeah. So I actually tried to find a lot of the synthesizers that they used.
Okay.
And just followed the sounds of my favorite soundtracks and built a studio that could really only make that sound.
Amazing. I love it.
It was fun.